Wouldn't it be nice if you could handpick your ideal clients? Well, you can. What's up? This is Meliss and welcome back to the channel. I'm here with the info you need to get the results you want. Because today I'm going to be talking to you about the art of handpicking your ideal client, and what I'm going over here really plays a huge role in how you're going to create powerful content, which I'll go more into in this video. A good example is when someone, usually local, hears about what you do and then refers someone to you that you aren't really that crazy about working with. Who has had that happen before? Raise your hand. You might want to help them and serve them, but you feel uncomfortable or misaligned, or maybe even doubt that you can help them. So what do? Do you say yes to helping them because you know what you do works and you want to honor that referral from that person who sent it to you? Or do you say no because you feel that misalignment and you send that person on their way? I want to know the answer to that question, so let me know down below in the comments right now. But first, if you're new here, I'm Meliss 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐞, and I'm an online marketing strategist and business growth expert to coaches and healers. My whole channel is about marketing, online business, mindset, and manifestation. Hit that subscribe button and join the family so you can grow a profitable online business. Now, let's get into it. Okay, so I asked you, what would you do in that scenario where a close friend sends a referral to you who really wants to work with you, but it just doesn't feel totally aligned? Do you take them on as a client or do you say no? Which one do you do? Be honest here. I want to know, so let me know in the comments if you haven't let me know already. Now, let me ask you this. This person is willing to pay you a lot of money and you really need the money. So does your answer change? Why or why not? Now, I'm not in your position, so I cannot advise you on what you should do. But from a marketing and business perspective, the answer is we should never let it get to that point. You've got to stay focused on where you're headed and put those blinders on. And as soon as you step out of line, you need to do something else. And what that means is that you're going to end up opening yourself up to this whole other space, and you'll end up helping everyone again, which means that you're helping no one. And if you need help niching down, you can click on this video right here to learn more about that. Now, of course, there are some exceptions to this. For example, the person isn't so terrible to work with, and you can hire in some extra support to fill in those gaps that you can't fill. And maybe you're struggling to pay your groceries and they want to pay you $75,000 for a month's worth of work. Well, then you can make that call on your own. Or maybe they are kind of like your ideal client in a way, but not exactly. And you know you can help them at least a little bit. But how do you decide when you should say yes and when you should say no while you still stay in alignment with what you want in life and how you want to run your business and how you want to really feel as you're running your business? And at the same time, you want to be connected to your integrity and serve those that you can in the way that you can best help them. So when you have your foundational marketing systems in order, you won't have to be making these hard decisions. I'm a firm believer that you should do what makes you feel good, because only you have this one life to live right here, and I want you to make the most of it. So when I'm not feeling happy for whatever reason, I always reflect on why that may be, and then I make the necessary changes that I need to so that I will feel happy. So sometimes you gotta adjust or you've gotta pivot just to make that happen. And other times you just have to say no, and that's okay to set those boundaries, and you don't have to always say yes. And I know a lot of you might be saying yes more often than you want to. And occasionally you have to make these radical changes and turn everything upside down and go through this transition. Life happens and we do have control on where we want to steer those reins. All that to say, this is your business and you get to decide who you work with and how you do it, what makes you feel happy, and what feels good, period. End of story. Because you know, and if you've watched this channel enough, I say it in almost every video, leads are everywhere. So there really is no reason why you have to feel stuck doing work that doesn't feel 100% the way that you want it to. So that's today's mantra. Go put it on all the mirrors in your house and write it down in the comments below. Leads are everywhere. So first, we're going to hand pick the positives. So how do we do this? How do we hand pick who we want to work with? This is the art of selectivity. This strategic method allows you to accurately score prospects so you can focus your efforts on the leads that are most likely to become clients. We are gonna strategically find out who is a good fit and who is not a good fit for you before you ever get on a call with them. So I want you to think about some of your favorite past clients. What are the top 5 things that you like liked best about them. For example, they were coachable, or they were open to collaboration. They made you feel energized. Maybe they were grateful, they connected well, they're open-minded. To me, that is extremely important. There is nothing more draining than dragging someone through the mud. My favorite part of coaching is watching that transformation unfold and getting my clients to that testimonial board on my website. So when my goal is to get them on the board, then I want them to be able to believe in the process and be open to that change. And if they think this is impossible work, then it's not going to work. I need someone who puts the work in. That is very, very important. So think about your past clients. What did you like best about them? What did you like best about your past or even some awesome current clients? Hey, before we continue, do me a favor and go ahead and tap that like button right now because it lets me know that you find value in my content. It really makes a huge difference, and then I know to make more of these types of videos for you in the future. Many thanks, and I'm really grateful for you. Okay, let's hop back in. So next, I want you to think about removing the negatives. So think about the clients that you wished you'd turned away. You've worked with them and you were like, bad mistake. Don't do that again. What were the top 5 things that drove you crazy about them? For example, they don't respect your expertise, they always want to be right, they're always complaining, or they're negative, or they don't listen. Maybe they're trying to prove their point over and over and over again. Perhaps they come to the table with too much drama, or they just aren't ready for a change, they don't want to do the work, or, I hate this one, they don't respect your time. So what are some of the ones that you'll put down? And those were just examples, so think about what really pertains to you and the past clients you've worked with and write those down right now. What are those top 5 things that made you think about how you wished you turned them away? Okay, so I wanna do this brainstorming exercise to get those juices flowing, but I want you to really take time and think this through, maybe sometime today or over the next 24 hours. You don't have to rush through this process. So now we're gonna talk about what I call the 10-point prospect system. So the way we handpick who we want to work with is with something that I call the 10-point prospect. Now this consists of 5 criteria that matter most to you in selecting a client. Now, depending on your industry, some of these things may be more apparent than others. For example, if you work with pregnant moms, then one of the things your ideal client must be is pregnant. But other times this will be less obvious. So if you help people who've been abused, for example, they suffered some childhood traumas, you may not be able to tell that directly just from looking at them or speaking to them for a second, and probably not by scrolling through their Facebook profile page. So I want you to come up with 5 criteria that matter most about your ideal client. Then once you have this in order, you score your prospects accordingly to decide if they're a good fit. So each criteria is weighted at 2 points each. So 5 criteria, 2 points each, 5 times 2, that's 10. And that's how we get the 10-point prospect. So earlier in this video, I spoke about working with those misaligned clients, or being in that predicament that you have to decide if you should sell your soul just to bring in some money. And now we are going to lay down the law for you, and we are going to score these prospects. So a client that gets a 10 points is a hot lead, and you definitely want to start building a relationship with them. A client that gets a 6, so 6 points or below, is a hell no. And that's how you're going to remember: 6 and below, hell no. You do not want to work with them, but of course you should always be nice, and you just don't want to go after this type of interaction. So 6 and below, hell no. And someone who has scored an 8, they have 8 points, or maybe 8.5, something like that. It really depends on the other criteria. So if this person really annoys you or doesn't treat you the way that makes you feel good or inspired to serve them and do the work, then the answer is no. Plain and simple. And don't second guess it. That's the key. You're putting down the boundaries here, but then you have to actually stick to them. The point is to turn away those prospects that aren't a good fit. So we're not wasting anybody's time here. We are not in the business of giving in to what we think we need to do and ignoring our intuition and our gut feeling. That doesn't serve us. And we show up as that best version of ourselves when we serve coming from that higher purpose, not from our tortured, warped version of what we think we need to be, or what we need to think, or what we need to do. You are great at what you do. I know that because you're watching this video right now, you have a business or you're thinking of starting one, and when you're in your element, that's when you're going to work the best. When you have any doubt in who you're working with, you're no longer in that higher place. You're not coming from that higher level of yourself. You're no longer in your element, and therefore the work you do is not at the highest level. So think about that. What that does for your mind or for your soul or your brand when you don't show up the way that you know that you want to. So those were the maybe no's, but what about the maybe yes clients if they scored an 8? If someone scores an 8 and they're maybe a yes, what are you gonna do? Maybe you get along with them, they feel like they might be a good fit, but as you go deeper, you can discover that they really aren't ready for your offer. So what are you going to do? The answer is you get to decide. You get to decide. This is your business. Do you wanna send them off with some resources and tell them to come back when they're ready, or when they have reached some stage in their life necessary before working with you? Or do you have something smaller that you can offer to them that will help get them started? Now, you don't have to recreate the wheel here. I don't want you to drain your time or your energy with misaligned people, but if the answer is yes, that you do have something small that they can work on, then maybe you give them that. But it's your business, so you get to choose who you work with. Now, someone might score an 8 and it does feel really good. So an example is I help women coaches and healers, and I have a lot of other criteria on my 10-point prospect. But have I helped men? Yes, I have. I've had 3 male clients. But why, Meliss? You only help women. Well, they scored an 8 and everything else seemed totally aligned. So I was able to take them on as a client. So this is how I want you to think about it. 6 and below, hell no. 10, hot lead, yes, we're going for it. And an 8 is a case-by-case basis. All right, so here are some next steps. After you've narrowed down who you think would be a potential good fit and who you want to connect with, it's time to put some action behind it. And if you've watched any of my videos, you know, of course I'm gonna be talking about action because that's how we get things done. So I want you to go out there. I want you to start conversations with people who scored highly on your 10-point prospect list. And this means that you're gonna start building relationships with the people online or even offline who feel aligned. But here's some good advice for you. Don't randomly message people and start word vomiting all over them about your service. Don't send them the link to your website. Don't force your free Facebook group down their throat. Nobody wants that. Believe me, there is no bigger turnoff. So what I want you to do is to start conversations with these people and don't talk about you or what you do unless they ask you. The point is to build a relationship. It needs to be about them, what they like, what they're doing. I want you to learn about them. I want you to listen. It's like if you're going on a first date. We're not gonna sell like door-to-door salesmen here. We are going to take invested interest in the people who scored 10. So now that you have a system that you can implement that will help you handpick your ideal clients, you'll wanna know how to actually get clients as an online coach or healer. So go ahead and click this next video about how to get clients as an online coach or healer so that you can get a very specific breakdown of what you absolutely do need and what you actually don't need. So if you're ready for more clients, click that video right now.